Well, hey everybody, welcome back to the Iowa State University Beef Teaching Farm. We're going to talk to you guys today about something that's pretty important to the development of our heifers, and it's something that we put into all of our heifer development protocols here. Well, that one thing is pelvic measurements on our heifers. So we're going to take those pelvic measurements on our replacement heifers at about a year of age. Kind of what I do is I want the median average of a year of age on that group. So kind of with our calving window set up the way it is, I'll sit down and look at the birth dates on those heifers, and then I'm going to shoot right for the average birth date for 1 year on those heifers. The tool that we're going to use to take those pelvic measurements today that we use out at the farm is called a Rice pelvic meter. Dr. Rice invented this. It's a great tool. It's way better than the old hydraulic ones that some of you might be familiar with from the 80s. The cutoff that we have on a yearling replacement heifer for a pelvic area for us, which is how we're going to measure this, is actually going to be a centimeter squared of the pelvis area. And when I say that, it would be this area right in here. Our cutoff is 169 square centimeters. And when I say 169, it's 169. If we think she's going to be a Denver champion, but she's got 167, she goes to the feedlot. This is the most critical measurement that we take in these replacement heifers, because what we know is that if we get under 169 square centimeters here on this farm, we are going to increase that incidence of calving dystocia greatly. So 169 square centimeter pelvis is where our cutoff is. A lot of people also use that cutoff as well. That's going to be a 13 by 13 centimeter square pelvis. So when you're taking those measurements, the other thing that you need to look at when you're the tech taking that measurement is you need to be pretty cognizant of the shape of that pelvis. So we might have a really tall, narrow pelvis. I'm also going to go in and cull those out as well. So, maybe we had a 10 centimeter wide pelvis at the ilial shafts, but it's really tall. I want that pelvis to be somewhat symmetrical. It can be out just a little bit, but I don't want it, way longer, way higher than it is wide, or way wider than it is tall. So this is actually a pelvis out of an older cow. It's actually an old donor cow. This is a giant pelvis. So this is actually about a 20.5 by a 20.5 pelvis. I just roughly did some math on it. This is about a 400 square centimeter pelvis for an area. I'm actually looking at this backwards. You guys would be looking at the butt of this cow, and we got to keep in mind that this pelvis is going to sit in this cow at about an angle like this. So right here's where our calf is going to come through. So when we take this pelvic measurement, what we're actually trying to do here is we're trying to find the area of this pelvis. And how we're going to take that measurement is we're going to go from the base to the top, and we're going to measure the width of the ilial shafts here. You can work with your veterinarian, or you can contact us directly, and we can talk a little bit more in depth about how to accurately take those measurements. We're going to go in rectally with our Rice pelvic meter, and we're going to take that first measurement, then we're going to turn it sideways to get the second measurement on this pelvis here. When we measure those ilial shafts, we're at about 20.5 centimeters width and height. So these are your ilial shafts on your pelvis, and that's where we're going to get that width measurement from. And then vertically, you're going to go from the base up to the tip of the pubic spine. So that's how we're going to derive that number. Once again, that square centimeter pelvis number is what we're looking for. We want it to be fairly symmetrical. This one actually happens to be perfect. It's a 20.5 by 20.5 square centimeter width and height pelvis. So we're going to times those numbers together to get our area. That's going to be way over our 169 square centimeter pelvis cutoff. This is actually out of a cow. We're going to take that on our heifers. But we have to keep in mind that as a calf's going to come out of this pelvis, our widest point is actually at an angle here. So that's where it starts to become pretty crucial that those pelvises are fairly symmetrical when they're going to come out, when that calf's coming out. So that's one of the things that we do here on our replacement heifers. That pelvic measurement then can be a useful tool during calving And where we'll use that is in conjunction with a hoof tape. We have a formula based off the centimeter of the calf's hoof that we can actually determine before that calf is born or as it's being born if we can even get that calf through that pelvis. So, you know, maybe I messed up on making a mating decision and we have an ultra large calf. We can go in with that pelvic area that we've got and our formula off our hoof tape on our calf scale tape, and we can then determine if that calf's going to be born through that pelvis. That tool is really great in the fact of if you've got a really inexperienced crew, or maybe you're just not sure, maybe you know you're in and out of the calving pen all the time, maybe you've got a large number of them, it allows you to make some really quick, crucial decisions at a calving pen. If you're a long ways away from a veterinarian and you know that that calf is not going to come through that pelvis, instead of messing around with calf jacks, calling a vet, sitting there waiting for him to get out there and then come out and diagnose it, put her on the trailer, haul her into the hospital if you've got that, or take her to the vet clinic, or your vet at least knows what they need to be geared up with when they come. So it's not only just a culling tool on our replacement heifers, it also translates into a very important calving management tool, and that's why it's one of our most crucial measurements when we're selecting those replacement heifers.